Chris, this is going to be really weird not doing this show hungover, isn't it?
That was the best. Just kind of like
Yeah,
strolling up to the studio.
it's going to be a big change.
It is good. Well, at least we can. At least we're allowed to drink in the comfort of our homes. That's what Chris was saying.
Yeah. I remember the one show. Well, yeah, it didn't help that we would go out every Thursday and have the show at 7 in the morning.
Was it on? I don't even remember. Was it on Friday?
It was on Fridays. Yeah.
Was it on Friday?
Yeah, Friday at 7 a.m.
Wow, that's a commitment for a college kid.
Maybe it was 8. It was 7 or 8.
How are you going to ask a college kid to? You know what? We were committed. It was amazing.
Yeah.
And we're bringing it back. I love it. All right. So let's get it started here. We got some great – I'm excited for the topics today. I mean, I'm just excited to talk sports again, honestly. But so today we have our MLB rundown. The MLB is coming back tomorrow, opening day, as we've already mentioned, for 4 teams. 2 games coming tomorrow. And after that, a lot of other teams will kick it off, including the Phillies, which we're very excited for. But we'll do our MLB predictions. We're going to do by divisions, and then I believe everybody picked playoffs as well, right?
Yeah. I have, like, the NLCS and ALCS and World Series.
Yep. Cool. Perfect. And
I just did division champs. Division champs and World Series champs.
Yeah, exactly. That's perfect. And then we'll also get into a little bit of football because we're excited about that as well. We're going to do our top 10 players in the NFL. It was kind of inspired by a tweet that did you respond to it, Pat, or?
Yeah, I don't know. I think it was like an NFL Network tweet, put it out there. They put out the top 5 players, and I think we decided that top 5 is a little short. It's it's dicey.
I actually, it's funny because I had trouble like narrowing it down to a top 10, and I still even feel like I missed out on some people. Like even top 10 is difficult. But it's also one of those things where like you post that on Twitter and it's going to get a million responses because there are a million different answers. And I feel like my top 10 are not going to be someone else's top 10. And like I feel like it's one of those things that's so subjective in how you view positions and everything like that, that it's going to make for some good conversation.
That's why we had to settle it here. You know?
Yeah, that's why we do it.
This is the definitive answer. Whatever we say is right.
It's exactly it. And we fight to the death, whatever it is. And finally, we have our. I like this because I'm like I said, I'm the control group here. Our Friday Night Lights comps, characters from the TV show Friday Night Lights. Who they've grown into. What kind of NFL player would they be? Who can you compare them to? We're going to get into that as our last little one to wrap up, which is exciting. Let's go with baseball first. We'll start with that. That's what's on my agenda at the top. Let's go by division. We'll do the NL first. I guess everybody can give their NL winners and then their wild cards as well, and we'll kind of go from there. So, Chris, do you want to start with your National League?
Sure. The East, I have the Braves, as painful as it is, but that roster is just absolutely stacked, even with all the Corona going through it. Actually got better because of that, because they added Puig.
No, not anymore, though.
What happened with him?
He tested positive. He's done.
Oh, well, they're still going to win. Even though I hope they don't.
Well, I only knew because I picked him up in fantasy, and I got a little notification one day that's like, Yasiel Puig has tested positive for COVID. He will no longer sign with the Braves. And I was like, okay, well, so I'm about to cut him because there's no need. Whatever. I'm sorry. I just had to.
No, I appreciate it. Just shitting on my pick already. Pick number 1. Central, I have the Reds. The West, I have the Dodgers. And my 2 wild cards are the Phillies and the Diamondbacks.
Very nice.
Now, how confident do you feel with the Phillies? Or do you feel like there's any homerism in there?
I'm pretty confident. The issue with them is going to be pitching. I know they added Wheeler, but outside of those 2, they don't they're really uncertain. Arrieta's in a contract year where he usually steps it up. So hopefully he can do that. 4 and 5, you don't know what you're going to get. Velasquez looks good so far, but he always looks good and then falls apart. So I'm fairly confident. I mean, their lineup's one of the best in the entire league. It's just a matter of if the pitching can hold up. That's why I have them as a wild card instead of taking the East.
I mean, in a 60-game season, I mean, honestly, anything can happen. And it's hard to judge how valuable pitching is going to be in this 60. Like, are guys – are they going to cut the staff to 4 and just, like our guy's going to pitch 4 innings, cut the staff to 4, and just like roll as many pitches as you can. In that case, the Nationals are set if they do something like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, so I think it's hard to forecast it. Pitching's very tough to kind of.
The way it's going to help too is a lot of these teams with younger pitchers are going to be better off because all the inning limits are basically being thrown out. So you have these guys like Paddock last year and guys like that who normally would get shut down are going to be able to pitch the entire season because it's so short. So it's definitely going to be crazy.
Very true.
But yeah, those are my picks. I guess you guys want to give yours and then we can.
Yeah, Pat, you want to give your National League?
Sure. Yeah. So NL, a little different from Chris. I went with the Nationals. He doesn't even have them in the playoffs. I got him winning the division. I just think they have the strongest pitching. For the Central, I went with the Cubs. The West, I went with the Dodgers. I think they're probably the most talented team in baseball. And then wild cards, I have Braves and Padres sneaking in here.
I like the Padres pick there.
That.
You know what? They have a lot of talent on their team, and it seems like they can never put it together for a full season. Yeah. But the kicker, they don't need to this year, right? So they got 60 games.
Almost said we. He lives in San Diego.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's been on me for the Herbert picks.
Is there some buzz around San Diego about these Padres?
Well, it's Philly. You know, he can't go to the games in Philly. We don't know about San Diego yet, but we might have a chance to see him in person. Who knows?
Hey, who knows? That would be nice. You know, I like that. You know, it's funny too. After I give mine, I'm gonna realize that we're all gonna have somebody different in the Central, which is interesting. I think that there's a lot of close races here, and I don't know. We'll have to see. Let me give mine real quick. I wrestled in the East between the Braves and the Nationals. I ended up going with the Braves. I actually switched it. I like the Nationals pitching, but I just think I don't know. It just feels like it's the Braves' time. The West, I went with the Dodgers. There's not much. I'm within that division. I don't think there's any competition. They should run away with it. It's a weird season, but whatever. Central, I went with the Cardinals. I don't really know why. I think the Cubs and Reds are good. I think they'll hang around. I think it's going to be between the Brewers. And that division is wide open. It's kind of like the East.
It's funny you say that because I actually almost said the Brewers is a wild card team. So I would have them second in that division.
It's funny. I don't know. I feel like the West is all the Dodgers and the rest is like, I don't know. I mean, the Diamondbacks I could see being something, I don't know. But I don't know. That's what I want to see. And again, it's like this isn't a normal season again. So like nobody really knows exactly what to expect. My wild cards, I went with the Nats and I went with the Phillies as the wild card number 2. That might be a bit of a homer pick, honestly. But like I said, I'm relying on that starting pitching like we talked about to kind of step it up a little bit. I know they need a little bit beyond just Nolan Wheeler. Like you said, Arias has a contract year. Hopefully he steps it up like he has in the past with contract years. The bullpen scares the shit out of me, but who knows? Yeah. And I'm just hoping they sneak in, honestly. I mean, there's a lot of talent in the NL, but that's what I'm going with, Nationals and Phillies. So, Chris, we'll hop back to you, do your playoff series.
I just have the CS and the both champions.
That's fine. Yeah. No, whoever. Yeah.
So I feel like both of these. Oh well, we gotta do the. Oh, you just want.
Sorry, the AL. Yeah, we'll do the AL. Yep, that makes. Yep.
Yeah. So for the AL in the East, I have the Yankees. Central, I have the Indians. West, I have the Astros. My 2 wild cards are the Angels and the Rays.
All right.
No, I like it. I mean, it's funny. Like we give the picks, and I'm like looking over my notes and just kind of like trying to compare and like see where you went to like where I went. Like what teams might I have that nobody else has, and I'm pretty close to you. We have a lot of teams. I have one team that wasn't in yours, but I just want to see what we all think here. Then we can talk afterward.
Chris, who did you say for the West?
Astros. Okay. They're not going to have to deal with fans, which was going to be the biggest thing to hold them back. I mean, other than not having the buzzers too, but
yeah, they're already getting plunked. Sounds like.
Is there like legitimate worry that the fact that they literally cannot cheat this year, like they might just like fall apart?
The reason I would say no is only because all these players they put together were all like high draft picks because they were so horrible and tanking for so long. So, I mean, they have the raw talent. So that's why I think that they're still the team to beat out there. Having to go on road trips and get just destroyed by fans was going to hurt them. But now with no fans, I think talent's going to win out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I see that.
All right. I went AL East. I went with the Yankees, probably the popular pick there. Central, I went with the White Sox. So both Chicago teams I got win their divisions. AL West, I also went Astros. And for my wild cards, I got Rays and Twins.
We have the exact same picks there, Pat.
Good or bad?
Who did you I like the White Sox. I feel like they're like a bit off the cuff. I kind of like that. I thought I don't know. I think it's going to be a 3-team race, but
yeah, that one I felt like I had to mix it up a little bit because I feel like Yankees and Astros are pretty stock. I mean, I think those are the heavier favorites in the AL as far as winning their divisions. So I need to go a little bit riskier because you got to figure it's not just going to be chalk.
Yeah, I mean, I almost took the Twins. I was very close. I felt like it was kind of a toss-up, but I was like, you know what? Why not? People are talking about the White Sox. Who knows?
What do you got, Mike? Same thing, right?
Yeah, no, same thing. I got the Yankees. I just think Cole kind of puts them ahead. And plus there's nobody. I mean, the Rays are close, but other than that, the Red Sox are falling off, losing Mookie. Like I said, White Sox in the Central, AL West.
The big contract.
Yeah.
I know. He just got what was it? It just came out, didn't it?
I think.
It's like 350.
I think it was 368.
360. Either way, it's
second biggest one behind Trout.
Yeah, believe so.
Who's he, 4?
No, he's 330, I think.
Oh, really?
Oh no, Trout's 4.
Trout's 4. Harper's
330.
330. Yeah. Either way, it's a lot of money. West, I had the Astros, and the wild cards. I had wild card 1 is the Twins, and then the Rays is 2. I like the pitching for the Rays. I think that's gonna help get them.
Yeah. Rays have always been good too, and making something out of nothing, like being creative. So if there's any team that can handle this short and crazy season, I think it's them. So that's why I had them in there too.
They'll feel at home, no fans there.
Yeah. Right.
Just like the Marlins. What if the Marlins really come back now because they're just very comfortable,
Yeah, or the A's.
So the question for me is, with the stadiums being empty and everything, are there going to be – I mean, there's going to be somebody in the stands, right? Like there has to be somebody who works there. Like who's going to get the foul balls, the home runs? What are they going to do with them? The nuances of COVID baseball are going to be intriguing to me.
It's going to be – no, go ahead, Chris.
Oh, I was just going to say, yeah, one of the most interesting things with that, I think I sent it to both of you, which I didn't even think of, is like in a inter-squad game or something, Garrett Cole threw a pitch, struck someone out, and they threw it around the bases, and they had to get rid of the baseball because too many people touched it. And he's like, I want the ball back. And they were like, no. And the next pitch got like cranked into like the 15th row.
I think all the rules are just so funny. Like they can't spit. Like pitchers have a moist towel in the back of their pants because they can't, lick their fingers before. Like it's going to be really weird to see. Like it's going to be nice to see baseball again, but it's going to be very weird at the same time because it's like all these new things that, it's going to look really weird. Like yesterday, and this isn't obviously a game, but like I saw Phillies posted something on their Twitter. It was like first responders from around Philadelphia, their cardboard cutouts were displaced all around, behind behind home plate. And it was just like, I've seen stuff like that happen. I've seen the Korean League where they put stuffed animals in the stands and like all kinds of weird stuff and pumping crowd noise. It's going to be a weird experience.
Yeah, I don't think any of that stuff is necessary. I think most viewers realize it's going to look a little different, and we're all just so thirsty for sports that no one really cares if it's a little awkward. I know, like, the sports that we have seen start up, I mean, personally, I haven't seen much of a difference. In fact, there are some benefits to it, like being able – I know in golf you're able to hear a little bit more of the conversations. I'm curious to see if we get that a little bit more in baseball, if we're able to hear a little bit more of their conversations, if they throw some boom mics on the bases or something like that, just to catch a little – because normally you can't hear it because there's just too much noise.
I hope you can. It's a great –
oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, I think it's a great insight, and it's going to provide some things that you've just never heard before, like you were saying. Like normally there's crowd noise, you can't hear that stuff. I know the NHL already talked about using like a 7-second delay because I don't know what you're going to hear there or whatever on the ice, but I think some people are upset about that because you want to hear the authenticity of it, like it's something you never get to hear. So I don't know.
Yeah, that's why I've been loving the UFC with no crowd because you get to hear them just screaming at each other.
That's probably insane.
You hear when the punches and the kicks land, and it's a little different. I actually like it a lot.
Yeah, like
we're kind of used to it from the Ultimate Fighter, because when they would have that show, it's just like that. And when that show was on, that was what I liked about that is like it felt a little bit more real.
Yeah, definitely. So it's definitely gonna be interesting.
Absolutely. All right, do you want to roll into AL playoff picks? Or, oh, no, we'll go back to NL. We didn't do NL, did we?
Yeah.
We've established our divisions. We've established our wild cards. You don't have to say your matchups. Just say who you have one in the DSs or the CSs or however you did it. It's totally fine.
Yeah, I feel like both of mine are going to cause a lot of debate. So for my CS, I have the Dodgers beating the Reds, which neither of you even had in the playoffs.
Whoa. Oh, the Reds. Yeah, no.
Yeah. So I feel like we should dive into that once you guys go through yours. Because I think you guys are sleeping on the Reds this year.
Well, what do you like about them? What did they do that made you excited?
Their pitching staff is actually incredible if you look at it. So their rotation is Bauer, Gray, and Castillo at the top. So they have 3 studs up there. They added Wade Miley, who had a great year last year. He's not like a stud, but he's a solid pitcher, and they still have DeScalfani, who's not that bad. Then last year their offense was horrible, but they kept all those guys. They added Moustakas over the offseason, so they're adding 35 home runs. They added Castellanos, too. That's another 27. And they signed that guy from Japan. So they just bought all their offense. And I looked more into him because I actually know that much about him. He was a 5-time All-Star over there, 301 average and 116 home runs. 89 of them came in the last 3 years, though. So it seems like he's getting his pop later on. He's just going to drop bombs in that small ballpark. So I think they have the perfect mix there. Not to mention they have Suarez, who's I think is the most underrated player in baseball. How many home runs did he hit last year? Both you take a guess.
I have no idea.
40.
49.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
34 the year before.
I think that's a fantastic, anticipatory type pick. No one's going to be taking the Reds, but you're seeing what they're building, and you're taking a bit of a leap, hoping that they can kind of put things together. Everything you said is best case scenario, right? They got a good rotation. They're bringing all these. They had a horrible offense last year, but they're bringing all these dudes in. You got to hope that they mesh and can do this in a time when no one's really been able to have their normal spring training, have any time together. So I can totally see it happening. Don't get me wrong, I could totally see everything you mentioned happening and them competing. I think the division's tough, and I think it's a lot to put together in a short season. But I mean, anything can happen. So
yeah,
and it's also interesting when people come over from Japan or anywhere else because you're not really sure how they're going to pan out. They do have, I would say, more success more often than not. So they're pretty good track record, but you still don't really know. I mean, just because the guy had, you said 89 home runs over the last 3 years, do we expect 30 home runs? Well, I mean, obviously not in this short season. Do we expect 60 games worth of that? I don't know. We'll see. So a lot of question marks with the Reds, but I don't hate the pick.
Yeah.
You made your picks. Mike's frozen again?
Oh no, I'm good. I'm sorry. I thought I was going to. It's competitive division. I definitely want to see what's going to happen. We're jumping right to CS?
I didn't do the first round. I just did CS for both.
All right, cool. My CS, I have the Dodgers and the Braves in the CS. They're 2 really talented teams. Like I said, I think the Braves are. I think it's their time to make noise. People have been picking them the past couple of years, but I think finally that they got so much talent. I think it's time for them. The pitching, I think, is a question mark a little bit. So I'm kind of going against what I said before. I'm not taking the club with the staff aces and the guys are going to get them through, but that offense is just fantastic. So in the end, I think the Dodgers beat them. they're loaded. The Dodgers are absolutely loaded. I think pitching, the relief, the lineup is fantastic. So I think the Dodgers are going to get to the World Series, but I see the Braves contending.
Yeah, I think I have the Dodgers going to the World Series too. I mean, they're just stacked. They're loaded. It hurts. My picks hurt me. I have the Dodgers and the Yankees in the going both to the World Series there, and I wasn't happy about either of them. But when I look at the rosters on paper, they're both just so talented, both on pitching and through their lineups that it was tough for me to get away from it. And I'm not the Dodgers. What frustrates me about them is it's just a city that doesn't necessarily appreciate their baseball team, right? You got all those seats open behind home plate to like the third, fourth inning, and then they're all empty by the eighth. And the Yankees, I mean, I don't even know if that's anything. I hate the Yankees, but they're just so talented. You got the two bombers in there, and Judge and Stanton, and they're just going to drop bombs, and I think that's going to score them enough runs to win a lot of games and all the way to the World Series.
Yeah, it's funny. That's exactly my pick too. I don't know who you picked for it, but I have Dodgers and Yankees as well. I mean, if in looking in the AL, if Stanton and Judge can stay healthy, I mean, I know it's been a question for Stanton. I mean, I just think it's the logical pick. It makes so much sense, like it just who could beat that team? And like I said, it's a shortened season, anything can happen, but I just envision Dodgers Yankees. It's the one that I think is most likely to happen. But again, this is sports. You can't just pick, top two. Who knows? Chris, what's your World Series matchup?
This is going to be I have the Indians beating the Yankees in the ALCS, and I have the Indians beating the Dodgers.
Nice. Why? So what do you like about the Indians so much?
So people forget just how good. Yeah, people forget just how good they've been the past couple years. I mean, they were in the World Series, 4 years ago? A lot of that team's still there. Kluber's gone, but I mean, they have Bieber, who's insanely good.
Bieber and Clevenger, man, you don't even.
Another young, great arm. They have Carrasco still. Savale's a pretty good four-starter. He could be a breakout guy this year. They still have two of the best players in baseball, Ramirez and Lindor. And Franmil Reyes, they traded for him last year. He's another young power bat. He had 37 home runs last year, I think. I wrote it down. Yeah, 37 home runs. They have some young guys. Oscar Mercado. They have one of the best hitting catchers in the league. Perez doesn't hit for any average, but he hit 20-something home runs last year. They added Cesar Hernandez, former Philly, who's actually a nice leadoff guy. So I think he gives them some juice up there at the top.
Is he going to go for them, do you think?
Yeah, he's a projected leadoff hitter, and they have Brad Hand, who's one of the best closers in baseball. And last year, people forget they had 93 wins last year and dealt with a ton of injuries. Ramirez wasn't himself the whole year. He got hurt right before the season started. It was never the same. Lindor missed the first 2 weeks or so. Clevenger missed part of the season, and they still managed to win 93 games. I think they're being a little overlooked. And it's never the team you think is going to win. So.
No, well, that's what I'm saying. I feel like my pick's so obvious, but you can see it happening. I respect that. I like that. I definitely.
I could see. That's why I have the Yankees in my ALCS, and I have the Dodgers in the series. Dodgers just it seems like every year we say they have the best roster and the best team ever put together, and they always choke.
So let's hypothetically say that the Dodgers are the front runner in the NL and the Yankees are the front runner in the AL. Which of the two do you think has a tougher path to get to the World Series? Out of those two,
probably that's tough. I mean, I have the Yankees losing, so I want to see the Yankees, but I actually think it's the Dodgers. I think the NL is better overall.
More competition in the NL.
Yeah, it's more top heavy. I mean, the AL has a lot of like middle ground teams you can see winning the division, but actual like solid contenders, I think there's more in the NL.
Yeah, I kind of feel that way about the NL though as well, because like I mean, you look at it and like in the East, the only team I feel like won't contend is the Marlins. In the Central, I feel like the only team that won't really contend could be the Pirates. And in the West, I mean, you have the Dodgers, but I mean the Diamondbacks are okay, and the rest are whatever. So I feel like there's a lot of teams that can. I kind of like you said in the AL, I feel like there's a lot of teams that could kind of contend? Are they legit contenders? Maybe not, but they could get in the way enough.
Well, all right. I agree. I guess I phrased it wrong. What I'm saying is I think there's more teams in the National League that you could be like, I could see them winning than in the AL. It's more top heavy with actual contenders who you think
versus just solid teams.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
All right. So your pick is Indians over
Dodgers.
All right. Pat, what'd you have?
For the World Series, for the champs, I
Yep.
already got Yankees and Dodgers going up, and I got the Dodgers coming out of that. It's a little safe, but admittedly, I don't feel super confident on my in-depth knowledge here this year, and I thought let's play it safe a little bit. I think Chris named more guys on the Indians IR from last year than I could name on their whole team. So I just went with the Dodgers because and I want to get the pick right, and I want Chris to get it wrong, even though he knows a lot more this year.
Chris is respectable. I definitely like that. I mean, he's digging deep, bringing the knowledge out. I don't know what it says about me. I was the exact same as you. I said Kershaw gets the ring. I said I just think after so many years of it not happening, it's got to be time for the Dodgers.
I think the question is, does Chris know too much for his own good? That's going to be the question this year. Does Chris know too much for his own?
Is he overthinking it? Is this really
like those NFL GMs that pick the guy who's like, 22 spots down the board, the big board on Mel Kiper's board, and people give the GM the benefit of the doubt, and they say, "Oh, he's got to know something." Do they? That's the question. Does Chris really know?
I just want to thank you for saying I know too much for my own good. I don't think everyone's ever said it that